Hey, what's up everybody? This is Frizio07 and welcome to EverQuest. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you are going to ask, well, what is EverQuest? Well, EverQuest was a game that was created by Sony Online Entertainment. Now, unfortunately, it's called Daybreak. Um, it started, I believe, around 1998 or 1999. It's considered one of the quote godfathers unquote of MMORPGs. Warcraft, yes, is one of them. I'm gonna give them some credit too. Okay, Blizzard, there you go. Um, well, today I'm gonna show you how to even begin playing. First of all, you're gonna want to go to a site called everquest.com/home. I'll even leave a link there, and create an account and everything. It is free to play. They made it free to play when I believe either Reign of Fear or Call of Forsaken came out, the expansion. Originally, you had to pay $15 a month to play, or you could play the tutorial zone over and over again. It got boring, no lies. I literally had to wait till I can actually start paying for my account. Um, I'm gonna point out some perks right now. I'm playing my free to play account right now. I'm not playing my paid account because I don't want people to be like, oh. Anyways, so the perks are this: you have free to play, you have what's considered silver, and you have all access. Now, all access started because Sony thought it was just interesting. If you're paying for an account, might as well pay for the entire thing. Might as well count for all your games, not just one game, not just two games. It saved money. I mean, I thought that was a good idea. I thought it was intelligent. So, all access members, pretty much on EverQuest, you guessed it, just like Warcraft, you get all the perks, you get all the goodies, you get all your skill tree points, which is called advanced abilities. Um, you also have the ability to use prestige gear, which, yeah, unlike Star Wars, you can't just purchase to wear prestige gear. No, you actually have to pay for the account in order to wear prestige gear, which is pretty much not a big deal. Augments for your gear, however, really good augments will be prestige. But for gear wise, I'd say this: if you're gonna wear raid armor, you wear something that's non prestige. So it's normally gonna be tier 1, tier 2 armor. I believe though for the Darkened Sea, the tier 1, tier 2 armor I think is prestige. I need to check that. It's been a long time since I did some hardcore raiding. Um Alright, so enough with me babbling right now. Alright. When you create your account and you sign in, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get server selection. Don't just get one server. You get a bunch of servers to choose from. Now, if you're free to play, you get something called Vox. Now, I'm told that Vox really is good for teaching people the game. In fact, the community in general, if you find some really decent players in this entire game, they will teach you the basics, pretty much. They will teach you how to play your class and everything, if you're wanting to know it well enough. It depends on how far you're willing to go to learn your class and your role. Alright, so for this, we're going to go with Kazakh, because when I originally started playing, I made a character in Kazakh. So when you pick a server, you hit play EverQuest. Oh, note, if anyone wants to run into me, I'll be on the Fiona V server, by the way. I play a lot on this server. That or the Lockjaw server. For those on Fiona V, they'll know me as Kirar. But for everyone that's watching, it's just Frazzy right now. Alright, but for the sake of the tutorial, we're gonna do Kazakh. For old time's sake. Yep. Now, when you load in, it's gonna take some time. So, yep. Oh my. I might just cut this out. Okay. Alright, so once you get on the server and stuff, you're gonna get create character. Let you know if you're free to play, you only get 2 character slots, I believe. I'm silver on this account because I did do some membership on this account, and so I got 4 slots. Woo, not a big deal. But let's continue. Create character. Alright, so there's 16 races to choose from, 16 classes to choose from. Not every race could be every class. I mean, you can't have a good race play a necromancer and a shadow knight. They're pure evil. So, also you have genders, you have deities, you have city to start off with. Now, if you're free to play, you're going to start off in Crescent Reach. There's just no change in that. I've tried changing a bunch of times. Alright, so you have Barbarian, Dark Elf, Dwarf, etc, etc, etc. I'm going to leave some links if you're curious about what particular races do, like if they play a role in anything. I will point out some things, like the Ogre here is considered hands down one of the most powerful melee races in the game, because not only can they take a hit and dish out damage, but they have a resist to melee stun in the front. So if you attack them up front, and you use a stun, it's not gonna work. You might as well just be trying to punch a brick wall and and get the same results. Now, as you notice, like I said, not every race can be every class, not unless you play EverQuest 2. So I'll explain some of the classes because that's the more important theme about the game rather than race. Because later down the road, race doesn't mean anything. I mean, when you first start off, maybe that little bit of mana would make a difference, but now, as you progress, like to level 80 plus, it just doesn't matter anymore. You get the same abilities as, like, a Dark Elf Wizard here will have the same abilities as a High Elf Wizard. So, alright, so for the sake of making this easier, we're going to pick human, because humans can be practically any class except for what I call the primal, the more how can I put, like, tribal classes. Okay, so you have Bard. So bards are like your little musicians. They run around with instruments. Well, okay, that's iffy because I've spoke to bards. Some use instruments because they give that little boost. Others use 2 weapons because they say the armor itself nowadays just has the same results as just using the instrument. So it's very iffy. It depends on who you speak to. So I think it's more of a preference on what kind of bard you want to play. But all the same, they use music to their group's advantage, whether it is to do damage, provide benefits, or debuffs, or put enemies asleep. These guys are also very good polars too. They're also considered among the fastest classes in the game because they have a song to where it just pretty much they can get from one zone to the other a lot faster than anything. Shamans in the game have something similar to that called Commune of the Cheetah, but it's nothing compared to the bard's speed. Cleric. If you play Warcraft, Cleric is pretty much your priest. Cleric are your class. These are your primary healers. In raid forces, a cleric is always loved. In fact, in groups too. The sad part about clerics in this game is that it feels like it's a dying race dying class, not race. What's wrong with me? A dying class because with the introduction of mercenaries in the game, it felt like clerics just became a rare thing to have in a group anymore. An actual player that played a cleric, because hey, we don't have a cleric, just pop a mercenary, heal the entire group. I much prefer a played character over a mercenary any day. Any day. I am guilty of using mercenaries, of course, because I can't solo stuff. with my class. Well, okay, I could solo some stuff, just not everything. Because mobs in this game do summon you. So let's just say I have the mob rooted and I keep doing damage to it from a distance. It's going to summon me to him and I'm going to get punched in the face. No matter how much I try to run away, he's going to keep summoning me. So giving you a heads up. Not all mobs do it, but it's just a heads up. So again, back to the cleric is a class that is loved by raids, groups, whatever. They have a really nice aura, I believe, to increase AC as well as HP. These guys are also, believe it or not, can be tankish. I've never seen a cleric tank, but I've heard stories that they could. But all in all, cleric is hands down a very powerful healer. Druids are your next healer class. Now, unlike the Warcraft druids, these guys don't melee. Alright, so don't try and think you're gonna turn into a bear and run around and start punching stuff. No, it just doesn't work that way. They're pretty much like a natural form, a nature's form of cleric, except they can't take on a damage roll. They can use fire and ice, and I believe like magic, like bees and stuff, to attack the enemy. They also are very good to teleport teams to other locations all around the game, as long as they have a druid circle in that area. Enchanters, oh boy. Now, these casters are fun. I have an enchanter. I'm kind of working on him to replace my mage. Some of you are playing the game like, why would you do that? Well, enchanters are more of a support damage class. They have auras, which could add AC to the group. They can oomph spell damage. They can make it to where casters are more subtle in their spell casting, to where they take less aggro. They have illusions to grant benefits to members of their team. They are among, just like the bard, but these guys can do some serious crowd control, single target and multi-target crowd control. They're just a very fun class. The issue is, my brother played an enchanter for many years. He told me that they are very social. It's a very social class. It needs a group. Like, enchanters just have to have that group. But honestly, I've seen some enchanters who could solo, because they use runes, which are like pretty much protective spells, to protect them from great amount of damage. So in a sense, enchanter is like one of the only caster classes that can actually tank on its own. But in a sense too, once it gets punched, once its runes break, no, you might as well get ready to put that thing to sleep. So as I mentioned, magician, because I mentioned it when I was talking about the enchanter. Magicians are like they're summoners. They summon elemental pets, which are 4 elements. You have fire, water, wind, and earth. Earth is your more tankish pet. You have water, which I believe is your DPS pet that can cast like ability. Like, I believe they make it more of a rogue. Wind is more of your stun pet, where it uses a stun ability to its advantage to tank. And then fire has a natural damage shield. You have to keep casting it on him. And I really have not used the fire pet, so I'm not sure how effective he is. I've always used a water pet because before water pets were that popular, I thought they were pretty cool. Pretty much a magician in general, though, is a damage casting class. They use fire and magic to their abilities. They summon equipment for their pets to use, as well as a few trinkets for players to use, but not that many. Um, they could summon a small swarm of pets, either as an ability or a spell to go after a creature, but more focus is based on its pet. Its pet can pretty much tank for you. So as long as you have a really good healer in your group, a magician's pet can handle almost anything. Um, Monks, pretty much as it says, as I just said, right, monk. Nothing more to explain other than the fact that it's a melee DPS class where it uses fists and blunt weapons to his advantage. Um, his more powerful attack, I believe, is flying kick. Uh, and with an ability called Thunderfoot, I think it makes his next kick attack do a lot of damage. Monks can be really nice pullers too. They also have a self-sufficient ability called Mend. It's a monk only ability. And pretty much if he's critically wounded, he just clicks that Mend and hopefully it can heal him greatly. Or it could fail and you're kind of screwed. But all in all, I played monks in raids and in groups. They are a very fun class to hang around with. I mean, I quite honestly, my class, I will bring up later, it loves anything that involves melee or damage casting because of his ability to oomph their damage even more further on. Oh, I forgot to mention too, Bard can do that, but you know, that's a little too late to explain until now. Alright, so necromancers. These are a pure evil casting class. You will not have a high elf play this class. Necromancers are like your warlocks in Warcraft. They are soloists. They're so self-sufficient they can solo almost anything, or nearly anything. They specialize in severe amounts of spells that deal damage over time, as well as summoning undead minions to attack the creature they're fighting, as well as make them feign death to where they'll just lie there on the ground pretending to be dead, and they'll just have all those spells on that creature, and it's just gonna die a slow and painful death. Well, a real necro will kill it fast with all of his spells, so I'm just pointing it out. As I said, necromancers are soloists, so if you just don't want to socialize with anyone, you want to be a caster, go ahead and go with necromancer because, again, soloist. There's a lot of necromancers in the Fiona V server. I've seen a lot of them. It's kind of died down with population in general in that game. Not like in that server because of Lockjaw and Ragefire out right now. Paladins, which is a crossbreed between a warrior and a cleric. Pretty much these, in my opinion, this class is more focused on defensive abilities rather than offensive abilities. They are really good splash healers in raids, and all in all, like let's just say a cleric is having trouble curing everyone or something like that, or is focused curing a particular target, and you happen to have a paladin in the group, just ask the paladin to cure the group, or if there's not another healer in the group, and yeah, pretty much he'll do his job. Paladins in raids, same as Shadow Knight, is considered secondary tanks. They're not really primary tanks unless a last resort. Um, Paladins can be a very fun class. I'll just point this out that in groups in general, whether you're a warrior, paladin, or shadow knight, you're a tank. You're gonna be loved in your group. So if you play your paladin well enough, you're gonna be loved by whoever wants to team up with you. Ranger, oh boy. This is a very popular class. I've seen plenty on Field of V because of one reason only from what I saw. Headshot. Rangers over time will gain an ability called Headshot, where a humanoid creature will take severe amount of damage to the head from an arrow and will die almost instantaneously. That's kind of sad because originally when I was told about rangers, they never depended on the bow as much, only to pull stuff. A ranger was more of the melee secondary tank class. I've seen maybe a dozen rangers in Field V that I've worked with that rely more on melee more than range. Uh, by far, I've seen 3 of them that could really tank in the group. Like they known the role for a very long time. They were very dependable when you needed them. So as long as they had a really nice healer, they were sufficient enough to get you through a fight. Rangers use heals, can use heals. They could be good splash healers or emergency healers if needed, but mostly they're going to be used for melee burners or range burners. Hopefully, if you get a ranger in the group, he's more well-rounded rather than just use range. So rogues are pretty fun class. I have one. Pretty much a rogue is, as they say, they're thieves. They're sneaky little thieves. They will come at you from the darkness, backstab you, use their poisons to their advantage to just be a thorn in your side. Rogues have a natural ability called assassination, which is similar to the ranger's headshot, where it affects humanoids, but I think, if I'm correct, a rogue assassination happens more frequently than the ranger's headshot because the headshot did get nerfed eventually. Rogues are your burn melee DP, or your burn melee DPS. I've ran into very few rogues, unfortunately, because apparently they're not a very popular class because they feel they're so bland. I mean, you go stealth and hide, wait for the target, and then you backstab them. Something like that's just boring. It says I have to stare at their butt all day just to do any sufficient damage. So, if you find a rogue in a group, he's probably just playing it because he loves it. So, again, it could be a very fun class, especially since rogues can be very good polars if you allow them to be, because they have abilities to get out of a very nasty fight, or if they know they can't win over when they get up to level 80 plus, they have some really nice abilities like smoke screen, where they deploy like a trap where if the mob goes to it, it'll deploy smoke screen, the target will forget where the rogue is, and then the rogue can just sneak and hide. So it was a very good way of pulling mobs too. Alright, so you have the Shadow Knight, which is your Necromancer and Warrior. Shadow Knights are similar to your Death Knight, I believe, in Warcraft. Pretty much Shadow Knight is your another tank class. And unlike the Paladin, these guys use more offensive spells to keep themselves alive, like life taps. They use anger. They use aggro spells to keep hatred on them, so that way mobs don't go after the wizard for being too nuke happy. They also have abilities to where if you smack them too much, they'll reflect that damage back to you a bit. So again, bringing it up, if you're a tank in general, warrior, shadow knight, or paladin, you will be loved as long as you know your role well. I will point this out. Shadow Knights can be very good polars because they have an ability to summon a mob to them and then feign death. So that way someone can pick it up or someone can like snatch that mob for you. You get back up and smack it and do your tank roll. Warrior, pretty much your frontline tank. These guys are always the first ones you want to send into a raid. These guys can take a real good butt kicking. They have a lot of survivability and they have a lot of aggro abilities to make sure that nothing steals aggro from them. Now, if you steal aggro from a warrior, either the warrior will be shocked at the fact that you stole aggro, or it's just not going to be very happy because for the fact is you may not be capable of taking damage like the warrior. You'll die and he's like, well, not much I could do. You got a little too happy there, buddy. And then wizard. Wizards are your basic destructive spell weaving casters. These guys pretty much can use fire, ice, magic, whatever to their advantage to just obliterate that creature. The problem is with wizards is if you got a wizard that's too happy with his spells, like, you know, he just keeps casting and casting and casting and not paying attention, he will draw hatred to him, and then that mob is going to ignore whoever the hell is in front of it and go right after the wizard. Wizards can be a very fun class to play. My girlfriend plays one. I've known a few really cool wizards who play their role well enough to where they know better than to steal aggro from a warrior or whatever. Wizards also have the ability similar to a druid where they can teleport teams to a location as long as they have a wizard spire. So, or as long as they have the spell to teleport there. So again, was a very good service to have because it saves you money from getting gate potions if you have a really cool wizard friend that will hang out with you all the time, or will save you time from using the guild portal too much, or just in general if you're not in a guild. Alright, so we're gonna pick my favorite race for the next thing. Alright, never mind. We're gonna have to pick something else. Okay, so Beast Lord. Beast Lord is like a shaman and a monk combined. Beast Lords are what I considered a more aggressive form of shaman. These guys use ice, poison, and disease to their advantage to just cripple their enemies. On top of that, they summon a warder, which is a pet of the related to their race. Like this XR here, he'll get a scaled wool. If you pick a wood elf, you'll get a Trent. If you pick an ogre, you'll get a bear. If you pick a troll, you'll get a basilisk. Originally, it was crocodile, and people were all excited about that, but are now upset that they switched it to a basilisk. If you are a barbarian, you get a timber wolf. If you're a Vashir, you get a tiger. And over time, the pets will grow, except for the scaled wolf. I think the scaled wolf just stays the same size. I think also the troll and the ogre's pets stay the same size. Vashir's tiger gets bigger, though. I know that for sure. So does the Trent. I've seen a really big Trent walk up to me that was related to that was tied to a wood elf beast lord, but I think he probably just used a growth spell to make it bigger. But they do get fairly big. Also, beast lords are very awesome damage rolls. I've met a few beast lords who can perform damage in a raid to impress like wizards and stuff. They also have, let's just say you don't have a shaman to or a enchanter to haste anyone. Beast Lords can use their own form of haste for the group or raid, as well as they have something that increases your mana and HP regen. People like to nickname it Beast Crack. Shaman. This is my favorite class. Shamans are your tribal healers. They can also perform a damaging role similar to a necromancer, where they use spells that are dots, like damage over times, to their advantage. They can use a direct damage spell, but I don't find it as potent as the direct damage. Shamans, when it comes to healing, though, their real healing comes from their heal over time spells, like Recourse and their Whisper spells. But they can have some decent direct heal spells. They recently added an area of effects healing spell that I really love with the shaman. I still use it. Spiritual Surge. I was like, yes, finally. Something that can heal like 20 plus players. I'm like, yeah. So, also, best part about shamans, two things I like about shamans in general. If you run out of mana, you can cannibalize your HP to regain mana, which is very useful. And our abilities to oomph damage for our group. Like, mostly melee groups, but all in all, just oomph damage in general, where they're like, oh my god, yay! Sadly, people, if you play Shaman really good, you're gonna get a lot of people poking you for Shaman buffs. Especially haste. Like, hey man, can I get some haste? Come on. Just a little bit of haste, man. Just a little bit of haste. What was the next one? Oh yeah, Berserker. Berserker. Very interesting class because I call them the glass cannons. I call them glass cannons because they can do a tremendous amount of damage, but they can't take a lot of damage. I've seen some really good Zerkers in raid forces, but I've really spent a lot of time healing them, to where I was like, it was common to see one of them, at least one of them, die. I mean, no offense to some players, like, oh my god, you're a terrible healer. It has nothing to do with me being a terrible healer. It's just for the fact is, I've had some Zerkers who could be a little careless and would not back away when they took too much damage, or they just could not take that damage whatsoever, and they just plop. Now, also, crazy enough, I have horrible timing with my healing. Like that one spell I would need, and I need to use it. It's on cooldown. I mean, I could use Forceful Rejuvenation, but then it's like, it's on cooldown. So, but Berserkers, back to Berserkers. These guys, again, glass cannons do a lot of melee damage. They use axes. They use a lot of two-handed weapons to their advantage. They use chain. They use throwing axes to perform different abilities to give them an advantage, where it's just to cripple the enemy so they can't run away, or it's to stun them, or do extra damage like bleed, or destroy their AC. They can also use their weapon to decapitate the enemy. It's a natural ability where a berserker can decapitate a mob and can almost instantly kill them. A lot of berserkers use this to their advantage to gain a little extra money, but all in all, you know, just like the clerics, berserkers are like one of those dying classes. I mean, I personally don't mind a berserker in my group, but it's like, oh man, why aren't there any more berserkers? They're hiding. They're waiting for their moment to shine, because I was told a long time ago, I think it was around Kunark or something like that, or I believe it was later on, berserkers could actually tank, and they were nerfed from the ability of being able to tank. I don't know if that's true or not, but all in all, I'm like, oh man. So let's just say we pick a character. After all my rambling, now we're gonna do actually the character picking. So yay! Let's see, what do I want to play? I'm gonna play my favorite race, which is Frog. Oh, by the way, if you're more focused on wanting to know what best, and in some people's opinion, the best class for, or best race for a class, I'll leave a couple links as well as benefits of what particular races have. Like I mentioned, like ogres not being able to be melee stunned in the front. Alright, so let's see here. Frog line. What do I want to play as? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna play a cat. Yeah, play a cat. No. Yeah, I'm gonna play a frog because frogs are fun race. I'm gonna play my little blue frog. Where is? Actually, no. There we go. And now originally when Vanilla EQ was out, these points actually meant something. Like, you couldn't just put all your points in like just strength or whatever and not any stamina because it would really mess with you. So now it's like, whatever. Yeah, whatever, man. So let's see here. Alright, and for this, we're gonna go, just for the sake of the game, I'm gonna name him Zeal. We're gonna go through tutorial. Yeah, never mind. Oh yeah, he changed his appearance. Woo. Alright, so we're gonna name him for Zeal. And that'll be it for now. On my next episode, if I make it, it will be based on the tutorial in general, like setting up hotbars, things like that, so you can understand what you need to do. So, take care and see you next episode.